So, welcome to the Quixotic Heights podcast, where dreams take flight. This show delves into honest conversations with people who light up the world, like Muxiang here. Today's guest has been a source of calm, has been given clarity to others, is a huge connection. I met Muxiang less than a year ago. I feel like it's only been a couple of months. And I was on your podcast, so I'm excited to have you on my podcast as well. So, through her show, Hussein creates a safe space for her speakers to talk about their healing journey, their spiritual insights, any heartfelt stories that they have to share with us. And interviewing guests and speaking from the heart is truly the hallmark of what Be a Light with Musang is all about. So, in this episode, we're going to explore the inspiration behind her podcast, her journey with healing, and also just to how to be a light for yourself and for others in dark times. So, with that, welcome, Hussein, to the Quixotic Heights podcast.
Thank
How
you
are you?
so much, Amy, for having me. I'm so
Good.
excited to be here.
I'm really, really glad you're here. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about your background?
Okay, sounds great. So I grew up in China during the one-child policy and then moved to the United States 18 years ago. So I have gone through a lot of transitions and during the culture transition, also language transition, and now also recently I have had my career transition. And that's how recently I found the passion and also interest in public speaking because in the past many, many years, I have this strong message or the just a inner voice telling me I could do more.
Mm,
Despite when I grew up as a girl who was not highly valued or just treated equally. However, I always had that kind of inner hero in me. I felt like maybe I couldn't uh, do something like superheroes I did in in the movies. However, I could use my voice. I could
mm,
use whatever I have currently in hand to do the maximum that I can to, as you said, creating a light in my own life and also to create the impact on the people around me. So that's about me. And now I live with my daughter, 15-year-old daughter, and also my husband, and sometimes my stepdaughter, who has Down syndrome. And my family is a very loving family. And also I work as a project manager for marketing technology projects at a global firm.
wow, there's a lot to unpack there. Let's start with why did you come to the US 18 years ago? What brought you here?
Uh, well, to be honest, I was like imported, like many made in China goods. So I met my husband in China 20 years ago when he went to on the business trip, and also at the time I was single, and he was so attracted to Chinese women. He was determined to find a Chinese wife.
Mhm.
Before finding me, he had met more than 50 girlfriends, and but I was a lucky one, I guess. So 20 years ago, I met with him, and then we just fell in love, and just a non-distance relationship. But it all worked out. At the time, we didn't have this online video chat
Mhm.
available. However, just by emails and phone calls, we made our true love and really made this story a successful story. Then 2 years later, I moved to the United States and truly following my heart and following the love of my life, my husband.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
that's a
how I
beautiful
came
story.
here. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. And so you also said that you grew up during the one-child policy in China. Can you give us a
Yeah.
little insight into what it was like for you personally to grow up in that kind of society and structure?
Thank you so much for that question. That was not an easy era for many women, particularly for my mom, and that who was the closest to me. I had witnessed her struggles, her mistreatment from my father's family, and the entire village, simply because of three girls were her first children, and
Mm,
I was one of the fourth. I was the fourth born girls, but I was the third one survived. So just imagine at the time they were limited to only have one child, but the policy started to be reinforced and very strict around the time I was born. It's
mhm,
like end of 70s, and so I was just not wanted because having me would add another burden for them to have
mhm.
another son because they
Yeah,
wanted to have another son. And
yeah.
luckily, actually, they did. With my parents did have my younger brother 3 years later. Of course,
Mhm,
they got punished. My father almost lost his job in the village government, and then also they took the furniture from our
oh, God.
house, and they didn't tear our house apart like I witnessed, or later on I witnessed some of the houses were torn down just because of breaking the law, breaking
Mhm,
that much other policy law. That's because my father was working in the village government, but still, my mother was like forced to get another abortion after my brother was born, and all the related punishments were just there. And
mhm.
so I grew up basically a middle child. Just by being a middle child is already kind of neglected. But being in that situation, I was just surviving on my own and following my two sisters around. Even now, my mother was telling me like I had a big, how to say, big life because
Mm,
I could have died so many times by falling down to the ditch or some of the cliffs, like
mhm.
2 or 3 meters high, those kind of a wall, like a stone walls. But I survived.
Wow. You were
So,
meant
but I do have a lot of scars everywhere. I just don't remember, and just grew up in that situation. I had to voice myself a lot. It's, and I'm so grateful for being born with a sense of like a strong sense of positivity and optimism. I was always cheerful and
Mm,
always
mm,
had ideas to share. But during that time, I was treated like a silly girl.
mm,
Whenever I tried to say something, I was dismissed. I was dismissed.
mm.
So I always
Where did your
wanted
light
to
come
voice
from?
out. Yeah. Sorry for taking the too long.
No,
So
no.
coming back to the be a light as that's also related. As earlier I mentioned that I always felt like I have the inner hero, not just to show how great I am. I always have this sense of protecting the people around me to
Mhm.
make a difference. When I was very young, my mother said I was the leader of the children in the village, and I always tried to protect my brother, even though my brother constantly mistreated me.
Mm,
However, in my eyes, he was the hope of our family.
Mm.
So I
In-
tried my best to protect him, and even if he was chasing me and hitting me, I would just tolerate that.
mm,
And so over the years, I also experienced the gender discrimination, obviously from the day I was born, and also when I went to the city to study, I was also discriminated as like it's a regional discrimination because of the accent, because of the village background, because of the poverty that I experienced and that the other people didn't experience.
mhm,
So all the experiences that modeled the strong character that I have, I just didn't want to give up. I Many people treat me like trash, including my grandparents,
mm,
and also a lot of my classmates tried to bully me. I just stood up for myself.
mm,
I remember one time in my middle school, I tried to just fight back the bully. They tried to take away the basketball from an entire class, a group of bullies. They are from rich families. I don't know if you have experienced that. Always like if they're from richer families, they have more power. They got to do more things, and they have uh, just have everything more. They treated us like we were less.
yes.
But because of this strong personality like I have, I always have to stand up for myself, stand up for others. I just stood out to him and I got into a fist fight. But I think that's all worth it because after that, no one dared to touch me because I just feel like I have a life. I can fight back. And I
Mhm,
wasn't so important to my family. So that actually gave me the power to do more because I
mm,
was fearless.
mm.
But they have a lot to care. I didn't have much to care at the time.
That makes sense.
So, yeah,
It's interesting because, just women and Asian women in general, it's the whole thing about, you're meant to be seen but not heard, and you're not
yes,
valued as the boys in the family and everything. And a lot of women, even though we're internally strong, we don't project it, right? We don't use our voice. We kind of
yes.
hide shadows. I call ourselves sometimes wall huggers because that's what we do. And it takes a lot sometimes for us to get out of our shell. But you came, I feel like, right out of the gate very strong. And I'm curious to know where do you think that inner light and that strength and that voice came from? Did it come from maybe somebody in your family, or do you just think that because you were that middle child and not wanted, you were fearless in that respect, because you didn't have a lot to lose already, right? What is your thought on that?
I believe actually as being the middle child, being ignored, actually granted me this freedom of just being myself because I feel like nobody was going to protect me. For example, when I was facing the bullies, I know my family wouldn't show up if I was being beaten or being bullied. So I had to protect myself. I
Mhm.
guess that also gave me a strong sense of strength that people may not see. And for example, I hated people calling names of my family. I mean, they can curse me or do something I could handle, but
Mm,
whenever they touch my family, it's a big thing because that part is probably natural born. I care about family so much. Even now, family is the top value
mhm,
of my life. Um, Seeing the family happy is always making me happy. So when I was the middle child, and if I get just offended or being mistreated, I always just had to fight for my own right. And
mhm,
I feel like, okay, I know nobody is coming, so I got to do it the best that I can. So the more I push through, the more strength I get. For example, I remember when I was in high school, I was only 16 years old, or 17. Many people never took a train to a different province. Back then, like it's more like conservative. But I was the youngest of a group of other students who are from my city to another province to study art because I was the art student. And the parents actually they relied on me to take care of their kids. They
Wow.
are from the city because
Even
they
though you
could
were the
tell
youngest.
I was more independent.
Yeah.
I show the resilience and I show the reliability. And in when I was in high school, another family actually talked to her daughter. She only could go to the places if I also go too. So this type of trust actually enlightened me too, empowered me. I feel like this strength within me not only could protect myself, I also can create the impact on the people around me.
That's so beautiful. And
Thank
well,
you.
this podcast is called Quixotic Heights, and it's all about people having that crazy wild dream, right? And pushing through all the challenges to reach those quixotic heights and the success. And I'm kind of wondering what was your dream? What was your quixotic heights dream?
My quixotic dream is from my earlier on. I talked about the inner hero uh, uh, message. I
Hmm.
always feel like I could be more, and I want to protect others and make a big difference. So I always have this hero dream in me. Even recently, someone actually didn't like someone like me to always help others, but this just the nature of me like to help, like to provide support. It's just in me. I can't, even if I was mistakenly taken to be someone calculative or bad, I still be myself, do the things that I think is right. And so being a hero is always my dream. But in the modern society, how can I be a hero? That's why I started realizing the power of message, realizing the power of spreading this support and knowledge. So that's how I created the Be a Light podcast.
Hmm.
Actually, I came up that name very quickly. It's just after a year and a half, I was doing like a daily vlogs. Every day, I record a video of my modern life. So I want to emphasize the power of authenticity and the true, like just a true life. I just
Yeah.
feel like I want to help people to realize that everyone's life is so precious and there are so many things you can cherish, you can be grateful for, and the gratitude is something like burning inside of me and making my dream even bigger and bigger. I want to just create the platform or even using my small power
Mm.
to just influence the environment that I'm in.
Yeah.
So that's the podcast was born last year.
Wow. And okay. Yeah, I love podcasts because I feel like it's a chance, it's a window, right? It's that opportunity to
Yes,
peek into someone's life, even if it's only for 30 minutes or whatever. Um, in a world that's got 8 billion people, how do we connect with each other? And sometimes
mhm.
podcasts, one by one story at a time, is the best way to go. So thank you for creating this podcast. I think it's a beautiful thing that you've done. And I'm kind of curious to know when you first came to the United States, what was that like for you? Did you know English? What were your misconceptions? What were, yeah, just kind of give us a little insight into from your lens.
Thank you for your question. Wow, that time flew by so fast 18 years ago. When I moved to the United States, before moving to the United States, my husband did a good job. He set my expectations very low. For example, he said that he has a small house and he doesn't like to take care of the house chores or things. And also, he didn't expect me to make money or have a big career, so have very low expectations of me, and also set no expectations on me. So when I came here, I didn't feel any of that disappointment immediately. However, I did realize that the language really was a big setback. When I was in China, I was leading teams and doing all the marketing management work. And also, I was a graphic designer for many years.
Mhm.
However, when I moved to the United States, I feel like I was just an attachment to my husband because I relied on him because
Yes.
I came simply for him. And then for a long time, I didn't feel the freedom that I would hope for because I always have this free mind. When I couldn't drive, because in the United States you can't even go to a store if you can't
Right.
drive. Feel like a lot of limitations after a little while. I mean, in the beginning, definitely, as we talked about acculturation, there are several stages. So the first stage is euphoria. Euphoria is like excited
Yeah.
and
An
always
adventure.
yeah, adventure. So in the beginning was fine, but then I thought about my long-term life. I need to find this place. I need to feel the kind of freedom I felt when I'm able to. So went to school for English as a second language because my English level was simply just conversational level. I wasn't confident enough to find a job at the office. Although I went to the Dunkin' Donuts, which was walking distance, and I went there. They offered me a job right away. However, the stigma in me is that because I was in China, I worked at the office, and also in Asian countries feel like service is different from office jobs. And as my parents said, "Oh, you were waste all your college education, all this
Yeah.
experience." So I didn't take the job. I decided to focus on studying. I needed to equip myself first. Then I need to set the bar a little bit higher for myself. That's what
Mhm.
I did. So that's what I did. Then I went to University of Illinois at Chicago and finished another degree here. I feel like that's my ticket
Yeah.
to the arena to feel um,
Mm.
free. So
Yeah.
that's how I did. Of course, the journey was not easy because when I went to the university, I got because I thought I could transfer some credits there so I could get the degree sooner. Um, but they said, no, we set this program in 4 years. You have to go through 4 years.
Mm.
I was
You're like,
crying because after I already did 2 years at the community college, I finished another associate degree. It's all about planning because we didn't have experience. My
Yeah.
husband didn't have experience. I didn't have experience. I could apply for a master degree with the college experience, work experience from China. But instead, I went to the community college, then went to another college just to try to get a degree from this country. It's
Yeah.
basically from scratch. And at the time, I was pregnant. So that's why
Mm.
I was like, oh gosh, it's so hard. And I also had an internship, like a work at the same time. So, but still at that time, I'm so grateful for my husband's support. Um, in general, he is very critical, but at some of the key points in my life, he always showed a strong support. So he decided to support me for my college, and he said if our child is born, he could work from home a few days and with some other help. So when I was in college, I actually had a newborn and also full-time school and also 3 hours on the way, just commute. That
Wow.
was the toughest moment in my life.
Yeah.
With all the even the emotional kind of a hormonal change and just hard. Also, English was still weak. My English
Yeah.
was weak, and
Yeah.
I have this competitive nature to keep like ace to all the courses.
Of
So
course. Failure is not an option for you.
yeah. Failure is not the option. So that's yeah. I
That's
forgot about your
amazing.
question, but this is my journey of how I started my career life. After
Yeah.
4 years and after 4 months to look for my first full-time job here.
Wow. How did your family handle the news that you were moving to the US and getting married and starting a new life there? Are they still in China?
They're still in China. Thank you for that question. Actually, that was a big question before I moved to the United States because they were not aware or nobody had traveled to the United States.
Yeah.
And we were taught actually US was the enemy of China for so
Mm-hmm.
many years. And the thing is, I also had the opportunity to get married in Hong Kong. Hong Kong is not bad at all. And in fact, a couple boys really liked me. It's just the fate. I just didn't fall for them. Um, Even though seems their age, their background seem to be great match for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not right for me. So when I met my husband, who is a lot older than me, and also he has a family and has had 3 children already. One of them has Down syndrome. They're all teenagers at the time. So that's why my family was like, "Uh, what you're doing? Are you sure that's what
Yeah.
you want?
That
Being
sounds
a
very
stepmom."
overwhelming.
Oh, yeah, it is. And I was only 25 when I met my husband.
Mm-hmm.
And when we were dating, like seriously, they thought in the beginning, they thought I was just trying to learn English to make another friend. But then when we get more and more serious, they
Yeah.
started worrying. They said, "Are
Mm.
you sure you're going to?" Because that just I believe it would worry most families.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
with that
it's scary
situation.
because
It's scary.
you're not of the same culture, you're not of the same country, you've got that age difference,
Yeah.
and you're going to across the ocean basically to start a new
Yeah, the
life.
global. Yeah.
As a parent, I'd be definitely worried and scared for you. But it's amazing that you've been married for 18 years, and so your husband, he's European descent, is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, he
Okay.
is Polish American. Yeah.
Okay. So what's that like being in a mixed relationship at marriage? Are there some times where you feel like East and West collide, or is it really more of a dovetail where you kind of balance each other out?
I think you probably understand that very well, as you also married someone who is descent from the European culture. Uh, that's definitely is the case. Occasionally, we have this culture clash. However, actually, at our family and also in our relationship, that is not the biggest challenge for us.
Hmm.
Uh, s- my entire family, my husband loves Chinese food, so that's the basic
That
thing.
helps.
Once the food is matches, there's no big issue. And also another thing is my husband is okay with us. Like we have the supporting parents in Asia, like
Mhm.
the offsprings are responsible for the elders' elderly life. For example, need to support for them. The good thing is now we have four siblings, so we can share the burden. It's not that a big responsibility. However, still, I'm grateful for my husband for being on the same page. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's another thing. And also for education wise, both of us are pretty democratic. And so
Mhm.
we are very open and how we educate my daughter. And we also really emphasize on the kindness and the responsibility. And of course,
Yeah.
uh, academic part, my husband focuses more. For me, I care about my daughter's social engagement and play dates and
Mhm.
the emotional intelligence
Yeah.
or emotional health, well-being. That's what I focus on a lot. But overall, we are very synced. Like my husband and I on that part is very good. One biggest clash we have is our character, our personality.
Okay. Do
Because
share.
I'm the extroverted, you can tell, and I love
Did he
I
know this?
love I love expression my ideas, and I like to share my feelings, and also easily get influenced.
Hmm. Hmm.
Mm. And my husband, on the other hand, he is very rational. He was a software engineer, so he's very analytical and also very how to say that? It's more
Methodical. Uh-huh.
always fact based. So
Yeah.
he would ask me so many questions. Why? But sometimes it would get me like irritated. I said, I'm not going to do a research just to answer your question.
The curious mind.
Yeah. However, after so many years, we learned to get along, and
Hmm.
we did have so many bad fights. I don't know about you and your husband. I don't know anyone in front of this podcast, but I just want to be honest with you. It wasn't a smooth
Mm.
journey.
Mm.
uh, we we had big fights. After 2 months, we got married. We almost
You're like,
ended
oh
up with
no.
divorce. Yeah, but so many times we ended up just reconcile. What? How to say that? Just make it uh, work out
Yeah.
is that we know each other, we value family, we trust each other, and we love each other. And whenever we are in the deep hole, at least another person, one of us, is a little bit calmer. So we
Mm.
kind of that balanced out.
Yeah.
So
That's
I,
good.
Yeah.
There's at the end of the day, there's a solid foundation, right? And
Yes.
there's
Yes.
something that you can hang your hat on and say, this is what brought us together in the first place. And that's great that
Yes.
you can reconcile, that you can compromise and all that stuff. I will be honest with you, Joe and I never fight. We never argue,
Oh,
never ever.
wow.
Yeah, the closest we come was like when just, a week or so ago, we were in Las Vegas together and I was taking a nap and he came back, lost all his money at the in Vegas. They didn't lose a lot, but whatever he played, he lost. And he was
Yeah.
telling me what he did on the blackjack. And to me, it was just like, well, that was stupid, and he's like, I'm just giving an example. I didn't actually do that. And then I just turned over and I just like, okay, well, what's done is done. And then the next day I felt
Hmm.
bad that I kind of, um, teased him about that or just, and anyway, so we apologized
Hmm.
and that was it. I mean, that's how we argue. So, which is a good thing.
That's amazing.
I
I
know.
even thought in every marriage, people would fight, but obviously everyone's marriage is different.
Yeah.
I do feel very grateful for how far we have come together with my husband, and we build this life together. Uh, Definitely, sometimes I relied on his uh, intelligence, his calmness, his rational uh, actions. And
Hmm.
sometimes he probably relied on my support, my understanding. So we come together, have this common ground. That's
Yeah.
very important.
I
Yeah.
think I don't know if you believe in reincarnation. I do, and I think that in your previous life you literally were a warrior because
Thank you.
you are so strong, and I love that your podcast is called Be a Light because I truly see the light that shines through in you and in your eyes, and in your
You.
smile and in your attitude, and the world needs that. Um,
Oh, thank you so much.
Absolutely. And I want to talk a little bit about your show because you've had a lot of guests on the show. Can you maybe talk about one or two that really stand out for you and why?
Thank you so much. I would say the first one jumps into my head is the interview with my husband's ex-wife.
Okay.
The reason is, first of all, yeah, as you said, probably not expecting that. That's the reason I invited her. Actually, she was the third or fourth uh, interviewer on my podcast, um, because I truly feel grateful for her support. And also, I see the mindset that also the modeling power she set for
Mm,
the whole family.
mm,
Um, Despite my husband and my husband's ex-wife got divorced, doesn't mean they are bad people. And also, we just have this foundation of trust and support. So when I reached out to her, of course, my husband said, "You shouldn't." I'm sure she wouldn't. She wouldn't feel comfortable. She what I said, just let me ask her, let her decide.
hmm.
and and my husband's ex-wife is Maureen, and she actually um, tried to support me and be on my podcast and sharing something like she has never shared publicly,
Mm.
which is great of her to show the support to me publicly at the same time. Her story, like how to raise a child like my stepdaughter who has Down syndrome, and also she went through divorce, and also went through my husband getting a young wife like me,
Hmm.
invited into the family, and now we have become like such a big, loving, big family, and. To be honest, we are going to have a vacation together in a week. Every year we have
Well,
a vacation together, and
mhm.
it's my husband's ex-wife's father organizes it. So we are always like tag along, but now become like our side of family is becoming bigger and bigger. And I'm just so grateful for her to include me, and her attitude obviously influences the people around her, influences her children, and influences her family, her big family. She has a big family, like many brothers, and also she has a sister. Um, I still remember one of her former, not should say ex, ex sister-in-law asked me during one of the vacation, family vacation, and she said, "Are you comfortable to come to our family vacation like this?"
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, many people would wonder if I would be comfortable.
Yeah.
Actually, so that's why I actually, because of my husband's ex-wife's attitude, how she influences the people around her, and
Hmm.
how the people around her treated me, really empowered me too. I feel a strong sense of kindness from her, and this. Wisdom from her. And even later on, when I was in a deep hole with my husband and fighting and I couldn't get out, occasionally I would just thinking of her as
Hmm.
someone who would understand me. And
Wow.
actually, I did even talk to her a couple times. How she handled that. Obviously, she gave up, but uh, but I just tried to understand the depth of the struggles they had, so have a different perspective. How I can handle it better.
Yeah.
So all this. Just is so strong to me, and so that's why I invited her to share. I do highly recommend people to give a listen.
Yes. Well,
She's
all the
an
listeners.
amazing person. Yeah.
Yeah, including myself. I'll probably be like, okay, which episode is that? I'm gonna go listen. I think
Yeah.
that's really powerful. And it also is a testament that it takes only one person to affect change,
Yes.
and that we have in ourselves the ability, the power to be influential on others. So what we do, what we say, what we think is very powerful. And it does affect people. And it sounds like she's a light within herself as well, to be a
Yes.
strong woman, to not only be, well, they say that you got to love yourself first before you can love others. And it sounds like she's doing it right. She's self-loving and self-caring, to be able to also open up her arms and influence others as well, to not only
Yeah.
deceive you, but also be a light for others, which is obviously the topic of this episode. So
Yes.
you've mentioned your stepdaughter who's got Down syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's a topic that a lot of people don't touch on. And there's a lot of, I'm sure, misconceptions, discrimination. There's
Yes.
always like, oh my gosh, when this is what I hear anyway. When I hear parents say, oh, my child is sick, my child's got Down syndrome, my child's this, she's not going to have a normal, healthy life. And of course, I disagree with that, but tell me from your lens what it's been like to be around her and to also help raise her.
Thank you for this question. I love talking about my stepdaughter, Valerie. That's her name. Actually,
Mhm.
I made a documentary about her when I was in college, when I was taking the movie editing class. I also recommend you some your audience to take a look at it. Valerie was born as a Down syndrome. Definitely put the family into the position. Like I interviewed my husband's ex-wife. My husband didn't want to be on any of my shows, so I don't know his feelings about that. But I know it was quite hard on my husband's ex-wife, and but I think she did such a good job to just push my stepdaughter Valerie to try all kinds of things. When I met my stepdaughter Valerie, she was 9 years old, and she was doing gymnastics, and she was doing ice skating, figure ice skating. Then later she was doing swimming. Recently she is doing weightlifting,
Mm.
and she also had been in many of the plays, like for the special needs kids, who are the major actors in those plays. I just think she's such a light in
Mm.
my life, in everyone's life. Uh, to those people who actually immediately heard that the Down syndrome is someone as a burden or as a dark place or something, it's not what I experienced. Um,
Mm-hmm.
just very recently, I actually shared that on my LinkedIn, a post about how my stepdaughter teaches me every day. She
Mm.
truly teaches me every day. For one, she is so disciplined. She walks 6 miles every day, every morning, to Starbucks to get her breakfast.
Oh.
Uh, of course, that's a way of encouraging her to exercise. At the same time, you can see the the persistence she can she can do, and also she can do impossible things.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing is that she just is so smart emotionally. Uh, two nights ago, I was saying, "Oh, I finally successfully made your younger sister eat celery in in salad because I cut that." Then she said, then she told me, "Mushan, you shouldn't say make. You should say you encouraged her to eat something healthy like celery."
Wow.
So smart, isn't
Yeah.
it? I
Yeah.
know I could be biased. And also, recently I have been trying to watch my weight. I said, what's going on? I have been exercising every day, but seems like the belly fat is going to be more obvious, perhaps because of my age. So I made a change. I made a decision to eat slowly because
Mm.
I'm patient with people around me, but I'm not very patient with what I do. One thing is like eating. I always eat so fast, so fast. So when I feel I'm full, I'm just so stuffed, like
Yeah.
overate. So that's the problem. So I said, okay, I'm going to follow you, eat slowly, because that's what my stepdaughter does. She
Yeah.
learned it must be from her mother or somewhere else. She is very slowly. So I said, I'm going to eat it slowly with you. So she was watching me how I ate. She said, Mushan, are you copying me? I said, yes, I'm copying you. She said, you are perfect for, for who you are. You can copy me only for the habit, only change the habit. You don't need to change yourself.
Oh,
Such a big wisdom there. I mean, I always feel like she give great messages.
everybody needs a dose of Valerie in their lives, or maybe she should have her own podcast.
Oh, actually, I did it. I said I want her to be on my podcast.
Hmm.
Eventually, she will. She said not now. Yeah, actually, she is such a delight in
Yeah.
everyone's life. That's
Yeah.
why there was one instance many years ago. My husband and I, and also my daughter, were invited to a party hosted by a Chinese American. We were excited, but then my stepdaughter's schedule changed, so we needed to take my stepdaughter with us. So I told that host, I said, we're going to bring my stepdaughter too. She actually refused us to go. She said, maybe you shouldn't come if you need to take her. It
Mm.
hurt. It actually really hurts me. And even though it wouldn't touch my stepdaughter, but they don't know how
Yeah.
great she is, how delightful she is, how smart she is, how kind and pure. Like she can really add so much to everyone's life. But some people have this stigma in them, just setting such a cold wall there. Of course, I couldn't be a friend with that kind of person.
Mhm.
Eventually, I don't need to go to a party. But my stepdaughter is who she is, and I love who she is.
Yeah.
So, but that story just sticks with me. It still
Mhm.
haunts me. And I hope the people who are listening to this episode can really give another lens to look at those people who have special needs. Truly, they have special powers in them, such
Yeah.
as our Valerie. Yeah.
Yeah. That's beautiful. I totally 100% agree. I think a lot of it is ignorance. A lot of it is,
Yeah.
we hate or we fear or we don't, what we don't understand. And if we're not around it enough or around certain people enough, we we believe what the media tells us, or we believe what
Yes.
our own
Yeah.
fears tell us, and that becomes the truth in our life,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is a horrible way to live, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So again, it's another reason why your podcast is so beautiful and so
Thank you.
necessary and such an amazing thing that the world needs.
Thank you so much.
Um, as we're coming to a wrap, because I feel like it's almost an hour. It just went by so fast, Michelle. Um,
Yes.
are
I
there
also,
any?
oh, excuse
Yes.
me. I also want to add one thing. Valerie actually works.
Mhm.
Yeah, just for the your audience context. And so, yeah, she's
I bet,
definitely
well, let me
contributing.
ask you, where does she work?
She works at Mariano's, and
Uh-huh.
she treats her work so seriously,
Mhm.
always on time, and so she needs to be professional. She studied cheese, and so she works at the cheese station.
That's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you
Some
for
of her
sharing.
friends, some of her friends worked at some of no worked at like a coffee shop or some other stores.
Mhm.
So definitely, if we give those kids the opportunity to learn, they can do well in something s- like so reliably. Yeah.
Yeah. And oftentimes, it's usually us that is learning something,
Yeah,
when we're trying to
totally.
teach or we're trying to give them the opportunities, it's really giving us a lesson
Yeah.
and the opportunity, right? Yeah,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely.
So when I drive her to work, or sometimes I always just usually I like to listen to podcast, but if she's in the car, I just talk to her. And yeah, she has so much wisdom because if you talk to her, you are just energized by
Mm,
the words. Sometimes appear to be a little bit silly, but at the same time, within the silliness, there's the wisdom. There's the big insightful message.
yeah. And truth, like that. There's so much truth and sincerity, right?
Yeah,
Being
yeah,
genuine. Yeah, that's so beautiful.
yeah.
Is there anything that we haven't touched on that you'd like to touch on, or tell us what's next in your life and your podcast? Is there something else going on?
Oh, thank you so much. I'm not such a good goal planner. However, I think this podcast, Be a Light, is a project that I can do forever
Mm,
because it's just a platform to shine on those people who carry the light with them, uh, to share their knowledge, their wisdom with people generously. And most of the people who are on my podcast, they have a foundation of kindness because what really touches me the most, inspires me the most, is kindness. So
mhm.
definitely, I will keep working on this podcast, and hopefully, I will still do well at work. And also, I want to grow my public speaking business in the future. However, I don't know when, but many people already told me, they said that you are already a great speaker. You should just start
Mhm.
giving paid talks, because right now I give a lot of free talks and to support others. And because to me, I mean, having the opportunity to make the impact on others positively is way more important than a little money that uh, would make doesn't make a huge change, a huge
Yeah.
difference. Of course, if in the future it becomes a business, I don't mind to make money, of course.
I'm with you, sister, but it's
Yeah.
what you're doing is priceless, right? There's
Oh,
no
thank you
money
so much.
value for that. But
Yeah.
and it is hard to get those speaking engagements that are actually paid speaking engagements.
Hmm.
And I 100%, as an indie author, as an indie publisher, indie creative, like I 100% believe people should be paid for their time because, it's not just getting on stage and speaking. You have to prepare, you have to tailor your message to the audience. You have to keep yourself healthy,
Yeah.
all these things. And people don't really think about that when, and I also believe that, if you're hosting an event where you're making money from the event, you're charging people for a ticket, then,
Mm.
a slice of that should go to your speaker. But that's another topic for another day too. We can go down the rabbit hole with that one. Where can
Yes.
people find you and your podcast?
On my LinkedIn and profile, and also I'm on YouTube and also Spotify. The podcast is on YouTube and Spotify. Be a Light with Muxiang. Just search that and it should pop up. Yeah,
Super.
the reason I added the original name is Be a Light. I wanted to just have Be a Light. I believe that a name somewhere else also has it or
Mhm.
somehow. So I just want to make it different. So I did Be a Light with Mushan. But
Yeah,
obviously, whoever showed up on my podcast is truly a light that made a big difference in my life and on my podcast, and also made a big difference to the world.
that's beautiful. And it's also great branding. So I'm glad you add the with Mushang at the end of your podcast title.
Thank
Um,
you.
well, thank you very
Well,
much for spending the time with us. Anything else you'd like to say before we wrap up?
there's another message I would like to share is I also just finished editing the book and also like co-authored with my sister Escape.
Oh,
Yeah, I would love your audience to check it out later when I promote it.
yeah.
And
Tell us more about that. Let's give us a couple of minutes on the book. Tell us more about the book.
okay, so the title is Escape, and then the subtitle is the teen or 10-year-old teen parent and also 17-year-old divorcee. Means it's a true story about my elder sister who was forced to quit her school when she was only 12, and also was forced to get married when she was 17. And
Mm,
then she was just like me, fighting. She was actually stronger than me. She's my true hero in my life.
mm,
Um, she played a huge part in all our siblings' lives. My parents were there like parents, but at that time, but they didn't. In some way, my elder sister was a true parent to us. I don't
mm.
know if you understand it. Okay, my parents gave us life, but
Yes.
my elder sister gave us hope,
Yeah.
gave us like true future.
Yeah.
Yeah. So of course, the book was written originally by my second sister. Then I contributed my thoughts, and I edited the Chinese version. Then I had to translate it for her, and then add some of my part of story into it. It's it's like a historical. How to I
Fiction,
don't know how to put it categorize it, but
but it's fiction, but it's autobiographical, like
yes,
autofiction.
yeah.
Okay.
So the names changed. I think
Yes.
your book was kind of like that too.
Yes.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Yeah.
Trilogy, your trilogy. Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll keep
So
an eye on that.
yeah.
And if you send me the information, I can put it in the show notes, the link to the book. Um,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely.
And also, another message I want to share with all your audience is that if you are watching this podcast, thanks to Amy for this great platform, and also everyone has the power to be a light, to be to be your own light, who guide you to be the strongest version of yourself, and also you can be a light to the people around you. You truly can be a hero too. Thank you.
Thank you. I couldn't have said it any better. That's amazing. Okay, so we're gonna wrap up. Listeners, if you liked what you listened to or watched today, please, one, do yourself a favor and follow, subscribe to Be a Light with Muxiang, and listen to her podcast, give her a review, help her grow as well. And we ask that you do the same with Quixotic Heights podcast. If you'd like to be a guest on our show and share your quixotic dreams with us, please do reach out to me and we'll get you started on that journey. As always, thank you to my guests. Thank you to my listeners. And well, until then, just stay grounded, be a light, and we'll see you very, very soon. Thank you.